While American and Iranian officials held their second round of nuclear talks, another high-stakes meeting unfolded in Geneva. Russia and Ukraine sat down for their third round of trilateral talks, brokered by the US. But it's clear to anyone who has been monitoring this conflict that Russia, Ukraine and the US rarely agree on anything. The three parties are expected to continue their closed-door talks until tomorrow. US President Donald Trump, who once famously claimed he could end the war in 24 hours, has described the negotiations as easy.
You're going to have Ukraine talks tomorrow as well in Geneva with Witkoff and Jared Kushner.
Yeah.
What are you expecting there? Is there
they're big talks. It's going to be very easy. I mean, look, so far, Ukraine better come to the table fast. That's all I'm telling you. We are in a position, we want them to come in.
But what Russia is demanding does not seem easy at all. The main sticking point is territory. Russia wants Ukraine to hand over the remaining 20% of the eastern Donbass region that Moscow has still failed to fully capture. To understand why this is such a big issue, we need to understand what the region represents. Donetsk and Luhansk together form the Donbass, once Ukraine's industrial powerhouse. This region is packed with coal, steel manufacturing and infrastructure, connecting it to the Sea of Azov. Through rivers and man-made canals, it also holds fertile farmland and mineral deposits. And it was here in the Donbass that Russian President Vladimir Putin's destabilization campaign began back in 2014, after Russia annexed Crimea in a covert military operation. Putin has now spent almost 12 years trying to take full control of the Donbass through military force. Yet despite Russia's overwhelming manpower and firepower, Moscow has still failed to seize the region entirely. Russian troops control nearly all of Luhansk, but in Donetsk, they've only captured about 70%. While Putin and his aides have repeatedly threatened that if Ukraine doesn't surrender the territory, Russia will take it by force. But the truth is, Russian advances have been painfully slow, and President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has repeatedly refused to give up land.
We can't withdraw from our territory or exchange our territory, one piece to another piece of our territory. It's something a little bit crazy. Sorry, and that's why this is not just a land. 200,000 people there.
However, Kyiv and its European allies have hinted at a possible compromise, with some analysts wondering if Ukraine would be willing to accept the current reality on the ground in exchange for a temporary ceasefire. The location of the meeting also matters. This is the first time these talks have been held on European soil after earlier rounds in Abu Dhabi and Istanbul. Russia's delegation is led by Vladimir Medinsky, a Putin aide. It's a choice that has already lowered expectations. Ukrainian negotiators have accused Medinsky in the past of lecturing them about history to justify Russia's actions. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian president has described Putin as a slave of war, while insisting that Ukraine will do everything possible to prove it wants peace. A few days ago at the Munich Security Conference, Zelenskyy said the Geneva discussions will include how a monitoring mission would operate if a ceasefire is reached.
We are working with all our partners on security guarantees. As I have said, we are very close to finalizing this project. Today we met with senators and expressed our strong desire to conclude the agreement, and we want to increase the duration of these security guarantees so they are more effective for investors. We just had a meeting with investors and business leaders, and they require guarantees that extend beyond 5 to 10 years.
Well, even as diplomats trade proposals in Switzerland, the fighting on the battlefield continues. Just the night before, Russia launched hundreds of drones over Ukraine. So now the world is left waiting to see whether Geneva becomes the first step towards a genuine peace, or is just another round of talking that produces no change on the ground.
Power doesn't end quietly. Some deaths are not accidents. They are messages. A gunshot. A crowd. A country frozen. The killer disappears. The questions don't. This is not just about who died. It's about what followed. Governments fell. Armies moved. History rewrote itself. 5 leaders. 5 moments. One pattern. The assassination.